Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 1957 film Three Faces of Eve, starring Joanne Woodward. And I don't know why I keep calling this choking fits every time I start a video, but whatever. Three Faces of Eve is a movie we'll be reviewing on this video, starring Joanne Woodward and J. Lee Cobb. Of course, this movie is based on an actual book, and the book is actually based on an actual person. But the names of the psychiatrist and the person who has this disorder, which is multiple personality disorder, has, of course, they changed the names of the psychiatrist and the patient, just to protect the privacy and all that type of thing. Until, of course, in the 1970s, when the actual Eve wrote her own book and mentioned why, what happened from her side of the story. Because this movie is pretty basic. I mean, it's just a real basic story. Of course, nowadays it would be like a Lifetime movie of the week type thing, or some storyline on a soap opera, for the few soap operas that are left on television. I think because of the Three Phases of Eve, you had all these storylines on modern soap operas that came afterwards, or even during that time, because of this movie. Like I said, so Joanne Woodward as Eve, as a housewife named Eve White, and she eventually goes to a psychiatrist because she's complaining of all these headaches and blackouts. So instead of going to a regular physical doctor, she goes to a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist is played by J. Lee Cobb. Of course, is famous for being in a whole bunch of other movies, like Exodus or On the Waterfront, and so many other. I think also in 12 Angry Men, so he was a pretty good, popular character actor. So he plays a psychiatrist, and he's trying to figure out, I think this woman's just the worst, and that type of thing. Meanwhile, while he's talking to her, all of a sudden she has a blackout, and she changes her personality, or she changes personalities to Eve Black. And I know it's not, it's that basic, really. She goes from Eve White, who's like a meek pushover of a woman, pretty much, and she goes to Eve Black, and Black, of course, means, of course, the evil personality, or someone who's like a wild party girl and all that type of thing. And I should mention that Eve was played by Joanne Woodward, and she does play all three personalities in this film, and because she just does a terrific job, she actually won the Oscar for Best Actress, and that was the only Oscar nomination this movie received, believe it or not. Well, back to the film. So, J. Lee Cobb goes to an associate or fellow colleagues, hey, you gotta check this girl out. I think we have someone with multiple personality disorder. So the colleague comes in and says, holy cow. And the Eve Black character, a personality kiss, is a flirt. She goes out partying all the time and sings, dances, all this stuff. And Eve White is like the complete opposite. They're not a different personality altogether, but an opposite from Eve Black persona. So for a while, that he was treating her for J. Lee Cobb was, like I said, plays a psychiatrist. Was treating her for a while, and there's one particular day he puts her under hypnosis, and believe it or not, about 3/4 of the way through the movie, personality number 3 pops up. Now, instead of calling herself Eve, all of a sudden she doesn't remember anything. She doesn't remember her name. And I thought for a minute, and then she goes, Eve Red, or Eve Orange, or whatever, because it came up, with the Eve, Three Faces of Eve. So I figured, okay, make us up another name, or Eve Jones, or Eve Smith, or some other color for a last name. But that didn't happen. I figured, wait a minute, this movie's supposed to be named Three Faces of Eve. You should have 3 names. three last names with Eve. Eve something. But yeah, that was my one real nitpick. That all of a sudden she ends up calling herself Jane eventually, or she was given the name Jane, and pretty much it. And then Jane Lee Curtis says to put her into further hypnosis and figure, the multiple personality that you developed was maybe something from your childhood. So he's trying to figure out with Eve White and both Eve White and Eve Black personalities that he really couldn't find anything. So he's really getting frustrated because he wants to really, treat this person, and it's kind of more and more frustrating for the psychiatrist to treat her. And then, of course, it comes out that it was actually Jane who is the real original persona and developed these other two, the two Eve personas that she had. Eventually, Eve was the main real persona of this person, and the trauma that she had as a kid was when she was about 5 6 years old. Her grandmother had passed away, and it became a thing in her family to kiss the deported person before they are buried, and she was forced to kiss her dead grandmother, which anybody could relate to that. I mean, who wants to kiss a dead body? I mean, no matter how much you love the person or how much the person meant to you, who the hell was to force a 6-year-old kid or a 5 6-year-old kid to kiss a dead body? I mean, that's really perverted family right there. So that was the whole trauma this kid had or Jane had when she was a kid. And because of that trauma, it created these two Eve personalities. And after that, the movie does start off with her being married and having a kid. And when she was the Eve Black character personality, she was strangling her own daughter. And said, "I don't have a daughter. You're not my daughter." And she was, and actually, Eve Black personality was choking out the daughter out. And the husband got so frustrated with her that her first husband left, and while she was Jane, when she eventually became Jane and mainly stayed as Jane, she met a guy and they fell in love. I said, "Look, you heard of the story." Eventually, the story came out in the paper, and it says, "You ever heard of the woman who had the 3 personalities or multiple personalities?" And the guy says, "Yeah, I saw it in the paper." He said, "Well, I'm that person." And despite all that, probably him being freaked out by that, he fell in love with her anyway, and remarried her, becomes her second husband, and she became safe enough that they were able to get her daughter back, because the daughter was taken with Eve's parents, and after the strangling incident, so you didn't see the daughter again to the end of the film, and that's how Three Faces of Eve had ended, and they think. As a movie, it's like, typical. I mean, today, at that time, in 1957, when this movie came out, you didn't really have all the psychological type movies that much. All these deals with the psychiatrist and the patient, and multiple personality disorder was fairly new diagnosis back then. So it was kind of like a novelty thing back then. But as an overall film, I thought it was okay. I mean, if you want to see, one of those type of movies, I recommend Three Faces of Eve. Also, Ordinary People is also good for somebody who sees a psychiatrist. It's also, and I previously reviewed that film. So those are the 2 films I recommend for a psychiatrist dealing with a patient and trying to treat a patient or help someone out. But of course, this movie. Joanne Wood has only been like maybe 1 or 2 other films before she did this one, and of course, like I said earlier, she won the Academy Award for this performance. And of course, a couple of years later, she ended up marrying some actor named Paul Newman, and they were married for 50 years. It was like one of the longest marriages in Hollywood. But as a film, I think this is I haven't seen that many movies with Joanne Woodward in it, to tell you the truth. And I thought that she gave a very, very good performance, and it was very hard for her to do to play the three personalities. But overall, I think she did a good job. So that's my review of Matilda J. Lee Cobb. Also did a good job as the psychiatrist. It's one of the few roles that he had that I've seen. Anyway, he wasn't over the top screaming, yelling, and over the top performance. He gave a real decent performance in this film. So that's my review of 3 Reasons to Leave. Please click on the video. Please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my videos on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com. That's all with WDY. C.com. There's a homepage, the Rally Reviewer, Christy Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thank you for watching. Catch you next time.